Hey, my name's Izzy. This is Rolling Virtual Cards, coming at you with another Commander deck build. This time, we're talking number, I think it's 47? Gandalf, Westward Voyager. Big boy! We gotta talk about them big boys, guys. Them big boys. And it's 49. I'm on 49. Okay. Let's get into it. Gandalf, Westward Voyager is 3, a green and a blue for a 5/5 legendary creature avatar wizard. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, each opponent reveals the top card of their library. If any of those cards shares a card type with the spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. And each opponent draws a card. Otherwise, you draw a card. A copy of a permanent spell becomes a token. So, let's talk about how this works and what we're doing with Gandalf in this deck here, okay? So, coming down around turn 4 or 5, he's a 5/5, which isn't bad. And you're looking to cast 5 or greater spells, which is expensive, so you need a lot of ramp in this deck to really get there, okay? Each opponent reveals the top card of their library, so you're relying on your opponents. But if any of those cards share a card type with a spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and each opponent draws a card. Okay? So that's a lot that happens. So, if you cast a creature, each opponent reveals the top card of their library, and if a creature is amongst them, if any of those cards shares a card copy with that, copy that spell, you may choose new targets to copy, and each opponent draws a card. So, the way I believe it's worded is it doesn't matter if you only copy one. It's however many you copy, because you can copy up to, if they're all creatures, you get all the creatures copies. If you but even if you just copy one, they each get to draw one. Okay. Now, otherwise, so if no one reveals a creature in this hypothetical, then you just draw a card. Okay. Let's double check, just to be safe, rulings to see what he means. Okay, let's see. Copy. When the spell is run. Oh, you copy the spell you cast, not... Oh, okay. If any of those cards share a card type with that spell, copy that spell. You choose new targets for the copy. You copy the spell you cast, not any of the revealed cards. Some rare cases, the card each opponent draws will be... Okay. So I've read this card wrong, but it's still good. Okay? So when you cast him, or when you cast a 5 or greater, each opponent reveals a card. And if you cast a creature and someone reveals a creature, you get a copy of the creature spell you cast. Okay? This card's worded terribly. If any of those cards shares a card type, so yeah, if another one's a creature, you get a copy of your creature. And then each opponent draws a card. Otherwise, you draw a card. So regardless, you're going to get something out of it. Either a second card, or you get to draw cards. Both are good. Making Gandalf a lot more reliant on you. But, let's talk about the companion. I love running companions when viable. Okay? I don't like running them unless it's like, it screams, oh yeah, that's obviously a companion deck. So, let's talk about how companions work. Companions have a restriction to your deck. In this case, your starting deck contains only cards with converted mana cost 3 or greater and land cards. So Keruga, the macro sage is 3 hybrid blue green 5/4 dinosaur hippo with that companion restriction. And then and then this card, if it's choosing a companion, the actual let me no, they don't have a switch printing here. This should have the new wording. Yeah. So if this card is your chosen companion, you may put it into your hand from outside the game for 3 as a sorcery. And then when it enters the battlefield, draw a card for each other permanent you control with mana value 3 or greater. Keruga will trigger Gandalf, which is actually good in and of itself, because if you do trigger Keruga or Gandalf's effect to get a copy of Keruga, both will hit. You will sacrifice one of them, but you will still draw. You will still get both ETBs. So you'll enter the battlefield, draw a card for each other permanent you control with a mana value 3 greater, which will be a bunch, because that's the whole point of the deck. And Keruga will give you both of that. So this is a lot of draws for 5 mana there. So it's also just something to do on turn 3. That being said, let's get into the card by card. First off is Azusa, Lost But Seeking. This is 2 and a green for a 1/2 human monk. You may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns. Since you're drawing a lot of cards off of Gandalf and Keruga, land drops are just a very strong way to get that ramp that you need. You're going to be drawing into cards. Let's just play those extra lands. She does not trigger Gandalf, though. Burnish Heart is another just simple 3-drop. You play it turn 3, turn 4, you can go get 2 more lands, so that the next turn you're ready. It's slow, it's not the best in that regard. A lot of people don't like Burnish Heart anymore, which is so fine, I get it. But it's not bad casually. And if you can play it turn 6, that's not awful. Dryad of the Illusionist Grove. Okay, I got a cat here, I gotta pay my cat tax. Dryad of the Illusionist Grove is 2 and a green for a 2/4. Enchantment creature, Nymph Dryad. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to the other types. That doesn't really matter. I mean, it can make some things a little easier for you, just so you don't have to worry about card types, but it's mainly here for that extra land drop. Next is Eternal Witness. This is 1 and 2 green for a 2/1 human shaman. When it enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard, or return target card from your graveyard to your hand. This just lets you get another good card that can trigger Gandalf again. Green Slime is 2 and a green for a 2/2 ooze with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, counter target activated or triggered ability from an artifact or enchantment source. If a permanent or ability is countered this way, destroy that target. The main reasons here is Foretold. It's a 3-drop that you can Foretold for 1. During your turn, you may pay 2 and exile this card from your hand face down, cast it on a later turn for its Foretold cost. So that's kind of cool, because it gives you something to do on turn 2. Foretold is great in this sense, because normally in, what's his first name? Keruga. Normally in Keruga, it actually can't do anything, but the point is to run a bunch of cards that kind of cheat that sense. So you can't do anything on turn 3. Here you can do something on turn 2 with Green Slime. And it's not a bad card. Same thing with something like Lovestruck Beast. It's 2 and a green for a 5/5 Beast Noble with Lovestruck Beast can't attack unless you control a 1/1 creature, but it has Heart's Desire for a green. Sorcery Adventurer, create a 1/1 white human creature token. So on turn 1, Lovestruck Beast goes, here's a 1/1, and then later on you can go ahead and get a 5/5, which isn't bad. Next up is Reclamation Sage. This is 2 and a green for a 2/1 Elf Shaman, and when it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment. You need some good removal. It's an enchantment, so it'll trigger Keruga later, so it's not bad. Rift Sower is 2 and a green for a 1/3 Elf Druid. Tap, add 1 mana of any color, but you can suspend it, so you can suspend to it for 1 green. So again, turn 1 play. Rossthorn Acolyte is 2 and a green for a 2/3 Elf Druid. With tap, add 1 mana of any color, but you can also seasonal ritual it for 1 green and add 1 mana of any color. So you can just do that turn 1 if you really want to. It's not great, but it's not bad. It also just kind of fixes your mana if needed. Next up is Scorn Effigy. This is 3 generic for a 2/3 Scarecrow, and you can foretell for 0. So you can pay 2 to foretell it, and then the next turn just cast it for 0, which isn't bad. But it's still 3, which will trigger Keruga. Wayward Swordtooth is 2 and a green for a 5/5 dinosaur with a sin, so as long as you control 10 or more permanents, you have the Sitting Blasting. You may play an additional land on each of your turns, and Wayward Swordtooth can't attack or block unless you have the City's Blessing. So you can't do much with it except that extra land drop, which is kind of the point of the reason it's here. Next is Cosmos Charger. This is 3 and a blue for a 3/3 Horse Spirit with flash and flying. Foretelling cards from your hand cost 1 less. Then one less and can be done on any player's turn. Foretell 2 and a blue. So this can't be done right away, but getting this guy out does help you later on, being able to foretell a bunch of stuff for 1 mana. Next up is Fungal Behemoth. This is 3 and a green for a star fungus, and its power and toughness are each equal to the number of 1/1 counters on creatures you control. Now you can spend X and 2 green, X can't be 0, and when a time counter is removed from it, while it's removed from the game, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Okay, so this is kind of weird. It's here because you can technically cast it on turn 3. But it's also here just because like it allows you to get some things kind of big. And that's kind of fun. Plus, I was just running a lot of spin cards, so I thought it was kind of fun to run Fungal Behemoth. Oracle of Moldiah is 3 and a green for a 2/2 Elf Shaman. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Play with the top card of your library revealed, and you may play the top card of your library if it's a land. So this gives you more ramp and some more card advantage, which is pretty good. Sulphur's Packmate is 3 and a green for a 3/3 wolf, and when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. But you can also foretell it for 2, and you can foretell it for 1 in a green, which is pretty good. Again, turn 2, play it. Turn 3, cast it, and draw a card. Number 4 is, next is Solemn Simulacrum for 4 generic. You get a 2/2 Golem, and when it enters the battlefield, just library for a basic land card. Put it on the battlefield tap, then shuffle. When Solemn Simulacrum dies, you may draw a card. It's solemn. You guys know Sat Robot. It's here because we need some ramp and has to be 3 or higher. The last 4, which is the last card that won't trigger Gandalf because Gandalf likes 5 or greater. Veiling Oddity, 3 and a green for a 2/3 illusion. Suspend 4 green blue. For 1 and a blue. When the last time counter is removed from Veiling Oddity, while it's exiled, creatures can't be blocked this turn. It's just a nice way to just win the game. And you can do it on turn 2 and just kind of push to try to win by the suspend cause. Next is coming up like a bunch of cards that will trigger Gandalf. So you will get the reveal off your opponents and either draw a card off these cards or get a second one. So, and just to be clear, whenever you cast a spell with mana 5 or greater, okay? This doesn't have to be from your hand, okay? And it looks at the mana cost, not how much you use to cast it, okay? Aeon Chronicle is 3 and 2 blue for a star avatar. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. You draw a lot of cards with this deck, so that's good. Suspend X, so X and 3 in a blue. X can't be 0. When a time counter is removed from it, while it's exiled, draw a card. So this is pretty nice, okay? It's, again, we're doing kind of a suspend field of a deck because it just kind of fits the theme, and I wanted a fun theme deck. So suspending, this doesn't actually cost less. It costs more, if anything, if you want to spend it for more. So you can either just cast it for 5 if you have a lot of cards in your hand, and maybe get a second one, and that's going to be 2 really big guys to swing with. Or you can okay, I got a lot of extra mana here. I've been ramping. Let's just suspend this guy, which can't really be interacted with, mind you. And just put 3 counters on it, and then I'll draw a card each time one's removed, and eventually cast it, maybe get a clone of it, and get 2 big guys. Next is Battle Mammoth. I love this card for this deck. 3 and 2 green for a 6/5 elephant with trample. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card, and you have foretell. So you can do this on turn 2, then on turn 4, or later, after Gandalf's out, you can cast Battle Mammoth for 2 and 2 green instead of the 5. And that's going to give you a little cheaper. You were able to set it up earlier. But what's nice is getting 2 Battle Mastodon means if anyone tries to remove a permanent you control or target it with anything, if it's not removal, which would be weird, you're going to draw 2 cards, which is great. And people don't really want to bounce your cards either, mind you, because bouncing your stuff just recasts it off Gandalf. So Battle Mammoth is a great card in this deck. Next is Beanstalk Worm, 4 to green for a 5/4. Plant Worm with reach. That's simple, not great, but Plant Beans is 1 and a green for a sorcery adventure. When you may play an additional land this turn. That ramps you on turn 2, and eventually you get a 5/4 with reach. And with Gandalf, you could get 2 5/4s or a draw. Both of them, not that bad. Again, this is a very casual deck. I build various decks from 1 to 5. You'll see them all over my pages. I love building CEDH decks, but I also love building fun decks like this, where Beanstalk Worm isn't great. But in a deck like this, where you might get 2 Beanstalk Worms, or it'll draw you a card, and eventually that leads to, like, Keruga giving you another card draw, is great. It's so fun. Dropping 2 5/4s with reach is gross. Giant Dust Wasp is 3 and 2 green for a 3/3 insect with flying, and suspend for 1 and a green. So by the time you get this guy out, either you're gonna just get a 3/3 flying, or you could get 2 3/3 flyings, or draw a card. Very useful. Hollow 1 is 5 generic for a 4/4 golem. Hollow 1 costs 2 less to cast for each card you've cycled or discarded this turn. Cycle 2. So there's a bit of a cycle thing here, because what's nice is, like, if you cast this card, you get a 4/4 or 2 4/4s. But also on turn 2, you can just go, let's just ditch Hollow Knight and draw a card. See if I can find something better. Right? But 2 4/4s isn't awful for 5 mana. Infiltrator Il-Kor is 4 and a blue for a 3/1 core rogue with Shadow. So it can't be blocked except by other creatures with Shadow. Suspend 2 for 1 and a blue. A 3/1 with Shadow isn't great for 5. But for 2, sure. And getting 2 of them? Count me in. I'll just start hitting people. Monstrosity of the Lake. I love this card. Monstrosity of the Lake is 4 and a blue for a 4/6 Kraken. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 5 generic mana. If you do, tap all creatures your opponents control, then put a stun counter on each of those creatures. Island Cycling 2. So right there, that Island Cycling 2 is why it's here. You can just, for 2 mana, ditch it, go grab an island, you're good. But if you cast this guy for 5, and it enters the battlefield, you can just tap all your opponent's stuff for 5 more mana and just go, no. They're all gone. And if you copy it, you can pay 10 mana to tap them all and put 2 stun counters on them. Not always worth it, but kind of funny. It's a good idea. It's fun. It's flavorful. Again, this is a very flavorful deck. Riftwing Cloud Stalker is 3 and 2 blue for a 2/2 illusion with flying. And when it comes into play, return target permanent to its owner's hand, and you can spend 3 for 1 and a blue. So again, not the best normally. But if you do get it off when Gandalf's out, you could get 2 of these coming into the field, bouncing 2 things and giving you 2/2 flyers. Not bad. Young Blue Dragons, 4 and a blue for a 3/3 dragon with flying, and for 1 and a blue, you get a sorcery. You get Sand Augury, Sorcery Adventure, scry 1, then draw a card. For turn 2, that's not bad. That's a fine thing casually to do. I'll scry 1, draw a card, make sure I find something I need, and then later on you might get 2 3/3s with flying. Dirkwood Baloth is 4 and 2 blue, 2 green for a 5/5 beast. With suspend 5 for green. Turn 1, just suspend this card. And then hopefully you get Gandalf out sooner. And then you can get 2 5/5s. Not going to complain about that, or draw a card. Elvis Aberration is 5 and a green for a 4/5 elf mutant. Tap, add 3 green. Forest Cycling 2. That Forest Cycling, great on turn 2. But turn 6, getting 2 Elvis Aberrations, that's 6 extra mana. That's nothing to scoff at. Generous Int is 5 and a green for a 5/7 Treefolk. Reach. When it enters the battlefield, create a food token. Forest Cycling 1 generic. Great. Better than Elvis Aberration in that regard. Doesn't do as much as him. But, again, this is great. Turn 1, go grab a forest. Make sure you have those cards you need, right? Or those lands you need so that you can make sure you're on time with this deck, right? But later on, if you draw this card, 6 mana to get 2 5/7s with reach and 2 food tokens, I'm not going to shake a bone at that. No sir, no way, no how. Orchid Strider is 4 and 2 green for a 6/4 Treefolk. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 food tokens. And again, it's got that basic land cycling for 1 and a green. So turn 2, get rid of it and go grab a land to make sure you hit your drops. Turn 6, here's a 6/4. Oh, I get 2 6/4s with 4 foods? I'm not going to complain. Shift It Monitor is 5 and a green for a 6/5 Lizard. You can cycle for 3 and a green. When you cycle him, you may search your library for a basic land card or desert card and put it on the battlefield and shuffle your library. So for 4, you can just ramp, right? Which is fine because Gandalf is a 5, so you might not be able to get him out as soon. So you might just cycle this guy in turn 4 just to make sure you can do stuff, right? But later on, 2 6/5s isn't complaining. And mind you, if you don't get the copy, you at least draw a card, okay? And since you're helping your opponents, it's not awful. They might like it. You're being friendly. Shoreline Rangers, 5 and a blue for a 3/4 bird soldier with flying. Island cycling 2. Again, cycle it on turn 2 to grab an island to make sure you hit your land drops, or get 2 3/4s on turn 6. Tidal Terror, 4 and 2 blue for a 5/6 octopus. When it attacks, you may tap 2 other untapped creatures you control. If you do, Tidal Terror can't be blocked this turn. That's great. Tap 4, 2 unblockable Tidal Terrors. Island Cycling 2. Again, just a great way to do something on 2 and 2. Timberland, Ancient. 4 and 2 green for a 6/5 tree folk with reach, trample, and forest cycle. Again, 2 6/5s with reach and trample is nothing to scoff at, and forest cycling is good. Especially, again, since you're running a lot of these additional land drop cards, doing this to just drop an extra land the same turn isn't bad. Windcaller Avon. This is 4 and 2 blue for a 4/3 flying bird wizard with flying and cycle 1 blue. Whenever you cycle Windcaller Avon, target creature gains flying until end of turn. That's not bad. You can cycle this, target a bigger guy that might just be able to get in and take someone out. There you go. Get 2 of these guys on the field isn't bad either. Next is Beanstalker Giant. This is 6 and a green for a star giant. Beanstalker Giant. Beanstalker Giant's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. Since you're running a lot of land drops, or additional land drops, Beanstalker Giant can become really big. Getting 2 of these guys out is great. On turn 3, you get, for 2 and a green, you have Fertile Footsteps. Sorcery Adventure. Search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. So turn 3, you can ramp, and then later on, get this big guy out. Okay? Dread Linerum is 6 and a green for a 7/6 snake dragon. With Dread Linerum can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or less, so that makes it really hard. It's also a 7/6. Okay? 2 7/6 that can't be jump blocked, scary. And it also has, for 3 and a green, Scale Deflection. Instant adventure. Put 2 1/1 counters on target creature and untap it. It gains hexproof until end of turn. That allows you to protect something for 4. That's not bad. It's pretty good. And again, a 7/6, getting 2 of them, be pretty gross. 1 second here, guys. Sorry, my cat was making some noise. Had to get them to stop. Next is Errant Ephemeron. She's back to making noise. I will pause again. Okay, I think I got her to stop. So, Errant Ephemeron. Yeah, it's a weird guy. It's an illusion. 6 and a blue for a 4/4 illusion with flying, and suspend 1 and a green. 1 and a blue. Again, something to do on turn 2, and then maybe it casts for free, triggers Gandalf, and you get 2 4/4s with flying, or you get a draw. Krazen Tusker is 5 and 2 green for a 6/5 boar beast with cycling 2 and a green. When you cycle him, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. At least it gets you a basic land card, right? That's not bad. It should probably just be basic land cycling. Except it's cycling, so you still get to draw a card, which is pretty good. Which isn't bad. But like 2 6/5s, that's not bad either. Next up is Sage of the Beyond, which is 5 and 2 blue for a 5/5 spirit giant with flying. Spells that you cast from anything other than your hand cost 2 less to cast. Foretell 4 and a blue. So this is a 5/5 flying, and getting a second one of them makes the other cards cost 2 less, or 4 less, which is great for stuff like this, where you can cast it from not your hand for like 4 less. Really useful, and getting 2 5/5s with flying is great. Okay, I'm making my cat happy. She's going to do this video with me until she meows. Next up is Sphere Dragon. This is 5 and 2 blue for a 5/6 dragon with flying, and whenever it attacks or blocks, scry 2. Not terrible. And it has, for 2 and a blue, Psionic Pulse. Instant adventure. Counter target non-creature spell. Not bad, not awful. Something to do on turn 3. Stop your opponents. And then, getting 2 5/6s that scry when they attack or block isn't awful. Next is Sword Coast Serpent. This is 5 and 2 blue for a 6/6 serpent dragon. Swordco Serpent can't be blocked as long as you've cast a non-creature spell this turn. That's not too hard to do with all the adventures we got. And for 1 in a blue, you can Capsizing Wave. Instant adventure, return target creature to its owner's hand. Again, a quick little 2-drop you can do, and later on get 2 6/6s that just can't be blocked as long as you cast a non-creature spell. Sign me up. Line Caller Hunter. I don't think it's Line Caller. I think it's Line Caller Hunter. Is 5 and 2 green for a 7/7 Scorpion Scout. With Trample, once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a creature spell you cast from exile. This card's crazy, okay? This really gives you that like advantage that you're looking for with winning the game. You get this guy out, and then all of a sudden, once on each of your turns, you can just be all like, boom, here's my absolutely amazing big guy that I get 2 of. But for 1 in a green, you can retrieve prey. So Sorcery Adventure, exile target creature card from your graveyard. Until the end of your next turn, you may cast that card, okay? What's cool is that you can cast Lion Collie Hunter to Lion Collie Hunter. For retrieval prey, exile one of your big guys you want from your graveyard. Next turn, cast to Lion Collie Hunter from your exile, and then cast the other guy for 0. Very useful in a lot of ways, okay? Next up is Wirewood Guardian. Wirewood Guardian. Man, I can't read sometimes, guys. 5 and 2 green for a 6/6 elf mutant with Forest Cycle 2. That's great. Forest Cycle 2 is not bad at all. And it's a 6/6. So, like, nothing to really super complain here. I think it's just like a generically decent Forest Cycle for the most part. You'll probably just Forest Cycle it, but sometimes you're going to get 2 6/6s. And then Titanith Rex. 7 and 2 green for an 11/11 Dinosaur Beast with Trample. Cycle 1 in a green. When you cycle it, put Trample counter on target creature you control. That's not bad at all. Giving something Trample is not bad. One of your big guys over here, like a 6/6 is fine, but a 6 with Trample is way scarier, right? Or you can just do it and not target anything, which is fine. But dropping 9 to get 2 11/11s with Trample, that's pretty good. And last is Deep Sea Kraken. This is 7 and 3 blue for a 6/6 Kraken that can't be blocked. Suspend 9, 2 and a green, or 2 and a blue. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, and a Deep Sea Kraken is suspended, remove a time counter from it. So that 9 really doesn't last. It's like you play it on turn 3, and then by your turn, it's removed 4 already. And it's like each time. So like this card's great in Commander because like if they cast more than 1, it's going to come out sooner. But getting 2 unblockable 6/6s, that's not bad. So those are the creatures. Lots of big creatures that can be used before turn 3 a lot of times, which is kind of the point here. We wanted to be able to cheat Keruga's rulings. So next we get sorceries. Not as much cheating, sometimes. Cultivate, Cultivate and Kodama's Reach do the same thing. For 2 and a green, you can cast it, search your library for 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, and put one onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand, then shuffle. That just gives you some ramp. Raven form is 2 and a blue. Exile target artifact or creature. Its controller creates a 1/1 blue bird creature token with flying. Great removal spell, and you can foretell it for a blue, which isn't bad. Next up, we've got Search for Tomorrow. This is 2 and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle, and you can suspend it for a green. So this is a great turn 1 play in your deck, where by turn 2, or I guess by turn 3, you just go get a basic land card and put it on the battlefield. And it doesn't come in tapped, which is useful. So turn 3, you'll have 4 lands, which is pretty good. Up next is Tales of the Ancestors. There's 3 in a blue for a sorcery. Search your library with each player. Wow, I read that wrong. Each player with cards in hand, then with fewer. Wow, English. Each player with fewer cards in hand than the player with the most cards in hand draws cards equal to the difference. Foretell 1 in a blue. So this isn't bad because you can foretell it for 2, and that comes face down so they don't see it. And then later on, if someone has more cards than you, you can just kind of cast this and get a lot more. And the last one that doesn't trigger off your commander is Venture Forth. 3 and a blue for 3 and a green for sorcery. Exile cards from the top of your library till you exile a non-land card, or until you exile a land card. Put that card in the battlefield. The rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Exile Venture Forth with 3 time counters on it. Suspend 3, 1 and a blue. This is great. It just constantly ramps you every 3 turns, which is fine. Yeah, it's a great turn 2 drop, and then every 3 turns you just get an extra land. And if you're playing the long, slow game, like this deck is good at, you'll keep getting them. So next we get Inspiring Refrain. 4 and 2 blue for sorcery. Draw 2 cards. Exile Inspiring Refrain with 3 time counters on it. Suspend 3, 2 and a blue. So this does the same thing as Venture Forth, where you just keep getting this over and over again. But this is 4 and 2 blue, which means it's more mana, which means it's 5 or greater, which means it'll trigger off your commander. So if they reveal a sorcery, you'll trigger this twice and draw 2 cards twice. Otherwise, you'll just be drawing 3 cards. Reality Strobe is 4 and 2 blue for a sorcery. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. Remove Reality Strobe from the game with 3 time counters on it. It does the same thing as Inspiring Refrain, except when it gets removed, you get to, except instead of drawing cards, it bounces something. Return it permanent to its owner's hand. And with Gandalf, you get 2 of them possibly, or a draw. Spectral Deluge is 4 and 2 blue for a sorcery. Return each creature your opponents control with toughness X or less to its owner's hand, where X is the number of islands you control. Foretell 1 and 2 blue. That's a lot cheaper. You can double it up, which doesn't really do much, to be fair, except makes it harder to counter, I guess. But being able to bounce a lot of their creatures back if you have a lot of islands is pretty good. Instances. Only one of these will trigger off Gandalf, but Beast Within, just 2 and a green for an instant, destroy target permanent. Age Controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token, good removal. Harrow is 2 and a green for an instant, has an additional cost to cast Harrow, sacrifice land. You shoot your library for 2 basic land cards and put them in the battlefield untapped, then shuffle your library. This just ramps you. Crozen Grip is 2 and a green for an instant with split second, which means as long as this card is on the stack, players can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mono abilities. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Behold the Multiverse is 3 and a blue. For an instant, scry 2, then draw 2 cards, and foretell for 1 and a blue. And last is Return of the Wild Speaker, 4 and a blue, or 4 and a green for an instant. Choose 1. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control. Non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. A lot of your creatures are non-human, so either you get double this and like boom, bang, pow, all your creatures get +6/+6, and that might just be enough for you to win the game. Or you just like, oh, there's my 5/5. Let me just draw 10 cards. You do have to choose the same mode though, so you can't do one of each. Artifacts, just 3. Command Sphere is 3 generic for an artifact. Tap it. Add 1 mana of your commander color identity. Sacrifice a draw card. Conduit of Worlds is 2 and 2 green for an artifact. You may play lands from your graveyard. Tap it. Choose target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast that spell this turn. Activate. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. This just I've found that it's not bad to be able to just recast one of those big cards from your graveyard, because sometimes you just start fumbling, not being able to do much. Monster Manual is 3 and a green for an artifact, 1 and a green tap. You may put a creature card from your hand to the battlefield. This just helps you kind of like cheat the mana cost of the big creatures you're playing everywhere. Zoology Study is 2 and a green for a sorcery adventure. Mill 5 cards, then return a creature card milled this way to your hand. So that's kind of a way to just kind of get to a card. But yeah, the main thing with Monster Manual is really being able to just put these big guys onto the field without having to worry about casting them. 3 enchantments. We got Garruk's Uprising, 2 and a green for an enchantment. When it's the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample, and whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. This is all really good for this deck, especially since giving your big creatures trample is just kind of needed for a win con. Propaganda is 2 and a blue. Enchantment, creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature you control that's attacking you. This is a very slow deck. Propaganda makes it so you don't die. Shark Typhoon will trigger off for Gandalf. This is 5 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying, where X is the spell's converted mana cost, and you can cycle for X of 1 and a blue. Discard this card, draw a card. Whenever you cycle Shark Typhoon, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying. As long as you pay 3, you at least get a 1/1 token with flying, but it can be bigger, and getting 2 Shark Typhoons out of the field off Gandalf is pretty good, because a lot of your cards have adventure, which allows you to just cast like a 3-drop or 2-drop adventure and get like a 2/2 shark. Not bad. And we're running 33 lands, and I do not care about them. Whatever lands you feel fit your deck. That's how that works in this case. Overall, I really enjoy this deck. Its mana curve is actually not bad, because the majority of your spells, 14 permanents and 7 spells with mana value and 7 spells really push you into that nice, mostly 3-drop spells. And then you just got like a few other ones. But you have a lot of 3-drops, which is kind of the point. The push was to really make sure that you were there. You're mostly green in this type of deck. And there's a lot of test hands. So I thought, not that I've done this a lot, we would show a test hand. Because I like to. This type of test hand isn't bad. Again, we're talking casual. You got a blue, you got a green. And with both of them, you've got Talisman, which allows you to play it for 2, and then turn 3, cast it, so that you can draw little extra cards. But you're going to have a lot of cards stuck in your hand. So maybe not the best. You can also always suspend out Giant Dustworm. Not the best hand, but if you can get to a 3rd land, see, there you go. But maybe don't keep this. Let's deal another hand. We're going to see if we can find one that we can keep. Okay, there we go. That's not bad. This is going to let you Temple turn 1, which will allow you to see the card. Cool, maybe you don't need that one. Maybe you bottom that one, draw the next card. There's an island. Then you can go, okay, let's play a forest. We can, like, suspend, or we can forest cycle. There's a few things you can do here. This deck is slow. That's something you need to know. The point of it wasn't to be fast. It's meant to be kind of this, like, fun, jovial deck. Just be a big boy, right? Here's a 5/5, okay? You can build this deck without Keruga, and it'll work faster. But Keruga really feels like it fits Gandalf. It triggers with him. You draw a lot of cards off of him. So as long as you can really wrap your head around, like, just playing it slow for a bit and trying to find a good opening hand, you'll get a lot of work out of Gandalf, okay? With Secret Commander Keruga. And, like, if everything goes right, you're going to drop a Keruga and draw, like, 6-7 cards. Just remember, if you've got nothing to do in turn 3, don't forget to add Keruga to your hand. And, yeah, trust Gandalf. He's on his voyage to just retire. So let's have a good, fun game. Other than that, don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment on whether or not you like Gandalf Westward Voyager, or if you think the deck is bad because you're technically allowing your opponents to get card advantage. So, peace.